So if that contractor, is on your property and he gets hurt, he's suing you and you go lose. And you say, well, I hired him to do this job. Well, why didn't you check to see if he had his own insurance?
Let's talk about vendors real quick. So, landlords or property managers hire vendors to go work on site. And so when I say vendors, it's plumbers, HVAC techs, et cetera, handymen, assuming they have a large enough company to need insurance or whatever. Should they require that their vendors add the landlord? I know from property manager, we require it.
Yes.
Should a landlord that owns one house that's hiring HVAC companies, should they require that vendor to add them as additional insured on their policies?
Absolutely. And the reason, number one, a lot of investors know people that will just do stuff, okay? And they don't vet the contractor.
Right.
So they say, okay, well, every investor should do this. You should say, I need a COI to prove that you have insurance, okay? And you need general liability and workers' comp. You really don't care whether they have commercial auto or not, but the two things you want to think about are, if he's got employees that are going to be on your property, he better have work comp. He needs general liability if he's going to be on your property, okay? So if that contractor, is on your property and he gets hurt, if he's a roofer and he gets hurt and has no insurance, he's suing you and you go lose.
Right.
And you say, well, I hired him to do this job. Well, why didn't you check to see if he had his own insurance?
Right.
So that's the first line of protection for investors, is to make sure. And I know investors are like, we just don't have time. Well, you got to take the time, because all it takes is the one,
right. And once you find your guy or your team, and they have insurance, you just might want to keep that COI on file and then check on the renewal or something like that. When I say add additional insured, I guess that would be the second line of protection, right? Make sure that they have the insurance first.
Correct.
And then ask for additional insured. Now, what is the advantage of being additional insured versus additional interest? Because I think a lot of people will push back and be like, oh yeah, you're additional interest now, and people will miss that. It's not additional insured. What is I know some people feel strongly about it, some people don't. What is your take on it?
So you always want to be additionally insured, and because if you're going to be on the property, so Peak Property is going to be on the property, and one of your people get hurt, that's another first line of defense, versus Peak having to come back and say, now we've got a work comp claim, and now that disgruntled employee says, Stephen, talk to my lawyer. I got hurt working for you on this guy's property. So you want to be additionally insured on, any property that you want to be on. Additional interest is worthless, basically.
It's just it gives you notifications that it's canceled.
That
right?
it cancels. That's all that is they're going to send you something saying, hey, their policy canceled, which would allow you, I shouldn't say worthless, that was a bad word, would allow you to contact them and say, do you have another, did you switch companies? Because we'd like to see another to make sure that you're covering your bases.
So the benefit, additional interest will basically give you notifications the policy terminates or is canceled or something like that. So it can give you a heads up if your go-to HVAC person or plumber or whatever no longer has insurance or change policies, and then you want to be additional interest on that. Or like at Peak Property Management, we make sure that all of our vendors have us as additional insured, which from what I understand means that if one of their workers does get hurt or they cause issues on the property or anything like that, it goes through our insurance and then kind of bounces to theirs, right?
Right. It was probably going to go through theirs
or
first.
their primary, right? That's the term for it.
Right. Yeah. So it's kind of like the renters. That's the first line of defense. Then, depending on what it is, there's, they might rope you in anyway, but you just need to do your due diligence to try to set up that first fence, and that's a good way to do it. Absolutely.